I want to introduce Colin now,
Hi,
who
everybody.
I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple of weeks ago. There he is. Um, Colin to me is a really interesting dude, you know. He'll tell you about himself in a bit, but for me, I'm getting to know him a little bit. Um, Got an interesting background. He is the least likely politician you'll ever meet. So I won't steal his thunder. I'll just let him tell him who he is and what he's committed to. And Colin, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Stu. First, thank you all for having me. There were a lot of points in that discussion that I wanted to jump in, but I know I've got a block of time here, so I wanted to let you have your time. But thank you so much for having me. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, about how I got involved in politics and got where I am, in the hopes that maybe it can show some folks here who are here standing up that maybe there's a way for you to stand up either in elected office or in support of folks running for elected office. So, Stu, let's start the show if you don't mind. So, this is me. This is my family. It's my wife, Lena, my three beautiful daughters, Toma, Eva, and Talia at the zoo not too long ago, and our idiot dog, Ender. The girls are the biggest reason why I'm running for office today instead of doing things differently. But certainly my wife's background and experience plays into it as well. My wife is a refugee from the Soviet Union, right? A Jewish refugee from the Soviet Union who came to this country in 1987. You can step forward, Stu. Um, my background professionally, and it's not all that important to dig into, but it informs a little bit of how I've chosen to get involved and volunteer. Professionally, I am the senior vice president of sales for a global broadcast video technology company. I'm responsible for $30 million in sales. I make big decisions every day for a lot of people. I've been in the broadcast video industry where I am today for 3 years. I work with global news networks. I won't say any of their names here, but I've negotiated some big contracts with these folks, tier one sports, names that you've heard of every single day. Prior to that, I spent 14 years supporting government technology, right? I helped design and build a network for the United States Air Force. I helped, chart video strategy for NASA, including negotiating how we can hand video off between Roscosmos with the Russians to NASA in the United States. So I have a little bit of international relations dug in through that, and a good amount of time with real-time crime centers, emergency operations centers, and seeing modern technology-driven policing from that side in the professional arena. All of this made me feel that I have skills and experience that translated well to the government space, but I am still, so I like to say, the least likely politician that you'll ever meet. My high school class voted me most likely to be a game show host. That's what my peers thought I was destined for as a teenager, and I wasn't exactly a paragon of civic pride in my youth. Um, I grew up on food stamps in a high income community. It wasn't easy. I handled that by acting out, and I was very well known to the local police department when I was a teenager. In fact, I served briefly on my town's board of supervisors in 2023. And when I was walking through getting my tour of the police station, I said, "So this is what it's like to not be nervous when you walk in these doors." Um, I say that to say that you can start from anywhere and go wherever you want. And that's one of the beautiful things about this country. It's one of the things that I love that you're all here working to preserve. So, what got me interested in politics was actually getting disillusioned with politics. The 2016 election frustrated me nationally. I had built a good career and I started to have some money that I could donate, and I donated heavily to national campaigns. And after that election, I decided I was going to focus locally because the national campaigns just wanted money. They didn't want volunteers, right? Every time I ticked a box with my check and I said, I want to volunteer, the only people who contacted me were fundraisers, not people who said, how can you help? What have you done in your life that can be useful to building this party and helping our candidates, right? Local groups always need both. right? $100 to your local committee is going to go a heck of a lot further than $100 to a national candidate. And they want your skills and your time and your talent. Local donations have a direct impact on reaching voters, right? So this started my crossover of political interest, professional experience, and activism. Um, for 5 years, I ran a publishing business, fantasy and science fiction. After Trump won office, I went out and I worked with a very talented editor by the name of Kat Rambo. We found 30 short stories on the theme of what will happen to our country in a generation if the worst policies of the Trump administration come to pass. There were some wonderful stories in this book. I say wonderful; they were wonderfully written, but very frightening about the country that we could have. And that was my start of combining my professional experience and passions with politics. After that, I started to build local relationships. I built friendships with local representatives through political events. When I went to the national stuff, it was a check and a wave a sign for a camera, right? When I went to my local stuff, I met my local state representatives, my state senators, the people who are involved in the communities every day. State Rep Perry Warren here for District 31 in Pennsylvania recognized my interest in local politics, in politics in general, encouraged me to get more involved locally. I was appointed to my town's planning commission in the winter of 2023, right? After that, I was appointed to a 4-month term on the board of supervisors when one of our supervisors resigned. It was a great way to dip my toe in, right? We have a board of supervisors. It's a group of 5 people that are the legislative and executive body for our town. We don't have a mayor. It's a volunteer position. That's me with Perry, who's become a good friend of myself and the family. But it just goes to show years of caring about the national stuff and watching the news didn't get me involved. But just a couple of months of going to the local stuff and getting to know people has really gotten me very involved in my town and my county. So today, there's a lot more that I'm doing, right? At the county level, I've gotten very involved in mail in voting, right? Pennsylvania has no excuse mail in voting, has for a number of years. It's a very, very important issue, right? Why is it an important issue? I'm going to show you some numbers here. I live in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. If you've watched a national election in the last 12 years, you've heard Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right? Let me tell you the numbers of voting by mail in Pennsylvania, in Bucks County. In the 2024 presidential election, 76,000 or so Democrats requested a mail in ballot. 71,162 of them returned their ballot. Okay. That's a gap of 4,628. Those are Democrats who said, I want to vote by mail, but did not return their vote. They had 30 days to vote and they didn't. Donald Trump won this county by 291 votes. Okay. I am now the deputy director of the county's mail in ballot program, and that is my goal. My goal, my mission is to get 300 votes, right? 300 votes out of that 4,628. I think I can do it, right? That's what I'm trying to do at the county level to help at the county level to beat back this tide of authoritarianism, the movement towards a right wing that does not resemble my father's Republican Party, right? I think if you look at your own towns, your own counties, you're going to see something similar. So that's what I'm doing at the county level. At the local level, I'm running. I'm running for office. And why am I running for office, right? I'm running for office because I have the life I do because of the community where I grew up, right? Great communities are built intentionally by people trying to build that community. They take work to maintain. So I said, I grew up on food stamps in a high income area and I never felt it. I never felt different from the kids around me. I never felt I had less opportunity and less advantage. So I grew up in a wonderful and healthy community and I want to pay back that community, right? Leadership. It's important for me to show that Democrats can run responsible and responsive government. That we aren't a carnival fire like the national right wing is today. That when you talk to a Democrat in government, they're talking about filling potholes. They're talking about listening to you and making sure your town is run well, that your rights are protected, right? I'm running because I care about local issues. I believe that national politics at this point in our lives are distracting from the real everyday impacts of government on the lives of citizens, right? Our local courts, our county courts, protect the rights of our citizens. The Supreme Court is important, but it starts at the local courts, it starts at the county courts. If we have good judges making good, sound opinions down at the county level, that's a strong legal foundation for any arguments that do end up before the Supreme Court, right? So I'm focused when I talk to voters every day on potholes, on kitchen table issues, on things that people care about, not the national politics, right? I heard a discussion about I don't go after Trump. I don't fight Trump. I don't, throw flames at him or whatever the exact wording was. When I'm knocking on a door, nobody wants me to say Donald Trump is terrible. Nobody wants me to say he's an authoritarian, right? I'm there to talk about what Democrats will do, positive message of what Democrat leadership looks like. And for family, I want to make sure that my township, Lower Makefield Township, remains a great place for my children to raise their families, just as it was for my parents and for me. I moved back to the town that I grew up in to raise my family, right? So that's me in a nutshell. I'd love to answer any questions that folks have, and just end with two small encouragements. The first is if you think that you might have the judgment and the leadership that it takes to make a difference in your community, please stand up and run for something. Go to your local committee and ask them how you can get involved. And the second is activism is great, but there are places where your activism is needed locally, right? Writing blog posts, contributing, writing. I do all those things myself. But go to a school board meeting and just say thank you for the work they do. There's going to be crazies that stand up in that meeting and throw bombs at hardworking volunteers. And it matters if you stand up and say, I don't need my 3 minutes. I just want to say thank you for the work that you do to make sure that our kids are getting a quality education. So that's my monologue.